Hello everyone, welcome on in. It is Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's your number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with BetRivers. It's the first major of 2026. It's the Australian Open. Myself and Sean have already given you a preview show looking at the best bets on the men's singles. If you haven't watched it, it is available now on the YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button. Join us to be notified of all the content that will be dropping over the next 14 days in Melbourne. Here he is. It's the first round show now. This is it, where we go through the best bets in the opening round. This is the time where Sean comes into his own. Please welcome our senior ATB Tour handler, Sean Calvert. How are you, mate?
Well, I feel under pressure now.
Nah, don't worry about it. No pressure. No pressure.
No, I'm fine. Yeah,
Don't
just
worry.
had a little paddle session. Got myself a new bat this year, so I'm kind of just trying to get a feel for the new racket. So just had a little game of paddle. I did all right. So yeah, I'm all right. Thank you.
Good. Nice one. I've been recording WTA tennis with Tim Dennis, and you can watch that.
Well, you're doing brilliant, aren't you?
We're doing well. We've got chances on the. We've got two finalists tonight, so hopefully many of you followed that on the WTA show, on our Instagram as well at Because We Win, and we previewed the first round matches, and we've also previewed the outright as well, which is also available on the YouTube channel. So as I said, please hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified of all the content that comes. A load of content on the tennis, also in the world of soccer, and a really, really important time in American sports with Betting Weekly Live with Doug and Mike at a little bit later on this afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, let's move on to the tennis. It is the first round of the major. It's the Australian Open, and we have some matches that we want to discuss and bets that we like with BetRivers. Before we go into the matches, Sean, we've broken down the conditions on the outright show, but for those who haven't watched that, why haven't you watched it? Give us the conditions, what the players will be expecting across the next couple of days over in Melbourne.
What, in terms of the weather?
Yeah, the weather.
Or just the general?
Well, whatever you think's relevant.
Whatever I think's relevant. Yeah, I mean, it's conditions-wise, it's played on a green set. Outdoor hard court with Dunlop AO balls, same as the other tournaments that have been played already at the start of this year. They're all uniform. They're all played on the same surface with the same balls from the start of the season up until now. It's kind of it's a I wouldn't say fast court. I would say it was a sort of, for me, I would say it was a medium-paced court, maybe edging slightly towards the quicker side in certain situations, i.e. when the court has been baked by the sun. Certain courts obviously get more sun than others. If it's a hot, sunny day on an outside court, it's probably pretty lively. On Rod Laver at night, humid, slower, not so much. Medvedev reckons it's pretty fast, so going on the Medvedev level, he's normally the first one to complain if courts are slow and balls are slow, so he thinks it's pretty fast. So medium to fast, I would say, in terms of the conditions. As far as the weather's concerned, Sunday, just looking at this now, looks really sunny. 29 degrees, nice and warm, obviously, sunny. So yeah, should be pretty lively conditions. Well, on the outside courts that get a lot of the sun.
Sounds like perfect conditions for the start of the season over in Australia. And our first match we are going to discuss on round one is the match between Alexander Bublik, a newly number 10 player in the world. Alexander Bublik, a man who started the season in great form, 4-1 on the year. He obviously got to the final in Hong Kong, didn't he? Got beat by no, he won it, didn't he? He beat Massetti. So yeah, he's in great form, but he's got an awful record at the Australian Open. Never got past the second round, but he is a very heavy favourite with BetRivers. He's -$4, $2.95 for Jensen Brooksby. 5.5 is the spread here. 36.5 is your total. There's your set betting. Here's your set spreads. A whole host of markets available on the BetRivers app. We'll have about 60 different markets on this match, so make sure you download the app, and if you want to watch it, you can live stream it. It's an early start, though. It's Sunday morning at 3 a.m. Eastern time. So if you want to stay up and watch this match, you can do on the BetRivers app. Bublik, though, in great form, into the top 10 in the world, but doesn't like Australian Open, does he? Only got to the second round 3 times in his career.
Yeah, shocking record. I should say, this Australian Open round one it's got the most exciting matches that I can remember in a Grand Slam. I've looked through this list. I've picked 5 matches, but I could have picked about 12, 15. That's normally not the case in a round one. There's some incredible matchups in the first round of this Australian Open. These are the 5 that I've chosen. Several others, as I say. Bublik, terrible record, as you said, at the AO.
Just before we do that, Sean, is that because, it's a question to ask on that, because I looked at the WTA one as well. And the WTA one seems to have a load of matches as well that we could have spoken about a lot more. I think we spoke about 6 on that show. Is that something to do with the fact that we're quite confident? Is that the fact that we've had a good start to the year and think, oh, I like that one. And when you're losing, when you're not in that greatest form, you think, oh, God, I don't really want to go to. I've got an opinion on that. But the fact that we're doing quite well on the channel, is that sort of get you a bit excited? Nothing really gets you excited, but, as excited as you can.
Plenty of things get me excited. I just don't show it outwardly.
No.
I just looked at this list, and normally when I look at Grand Slams, first round matches, sometimes a lot of the time I'm struggling to find 5 that I really like. I'm finding like 2 or 3, and then there's a couple more that are sort of all right. But I don't know why. I don't know why this one's worked out like this. But there's been so many matchups that you think look really, really interesting. Which as I say, I can't remember the last time I've looked at a round 1 Grand Slam and thought I could talk about 12, 15 of the matches. I'm not sure what I don't think it's to do with confidence. I just think it's the way the matchups have landed. Maybe some good players have just dropped out of that top 32. Let's take Ugo Humbert, for example. Humbert against Shelton in the first round. That probably wouldn't have happened had Humbert not been injured for a lot of last season. So there's some players that have just dropped out of that top 32 that have become extremely dangerous floaters, Humbert being one of them. And there's numerous others as well, people like Diallo and all these guys. You don't want them in the first round, but yeah, some really interesting matchups. And this one is fascinating for me, Bublik against Brooksby. Not just because Bublik has that terrible record at the AO. His record in total, I'll go through it here. He's played 10 matches here. He's won 3, lost 7. Service points won and return points won, total of 93. He's won 39% of his second serve points here, and he's only held serve, bearing in mind conditions are lively, and he's a big server. He's only held serve 72% of the time at this tournament. He's not beaten anyone in the top 50 here since 2017. He's not won a set here since 2023. So immediately you're thinking, is this just him being a bit lazy starting the season? I would suggest so. Is it also due to the heat? I can't imagine he's a massive fan of extreme heat. I don't know what time this match is on, but
it's a late match. It's 3 a.m. in the morning, Eastern time.
So that'd be about
the night match over there, wouldn't it?
Night match, okay. Well, maybe that's slightly better for him, but he's got a hell of a lot to prove in Australia, certainly at the Australian Open. The question now is, now that Bublik's achieved this top 10 status, which is what he wanted to do, I mean, he's quite a way behind number 9. Is he now going to say, look, I was a top 10 player in my career. That was me. I was great. I was top 10. Or does he want to go higher? I'm not sold on the fact that he thinks he can get much higher. Has he achieved his goal of the season already? I don't know. People will have different opinions on that. But what is for sure is that Brooksby is awkward, really awkward. He's usually at his best against big servers. Brooksby beat Bublik easily the only time they met, which was on a hard court. It was in Montreal, Canada, 2022. And he won it well, 110 to 90 in terms of service points won and return points won totals of that match. And Brooksby won a staggering 51% of return points against a server like Bublik. And he has shown up well on this surface against big servers. Brooksby's beaten Taylor Fritz, beaten Riley Opelka, he's beaten John Isner, Quentin Halys, Bublik. So, and the way that he plays, he likes to maneuver and sort of massage the ball around Brooksby. He struggled when he played against Seb Baez a couple of days ago with that sort of lack of pace, having to create his own pace sometimes on the Baez ball. For me, he's much better redirecting other people's pace. And the other factor here is that Brooksby, because he's such a funky player, he's got such a strange style and unusual style, an orthodox style, he can read what Bublik's trying to do. Bublik loves to play the drop shot. Brooksby can read it because he knows what's coming. He knows all about that. So I just think this could be a tricky matchup for Sasha Bublik here. So I feel like it's going to be a long one. I'm going to go Brooksby plus 1.5 sets here. That was a plus 150 chance with BetRivers when I looked at it earlier. So Brooksby's got to win at least a couple of sets.
And that highlights how many different markets BetRivers have. There's not even on the graphic there, but 1.5 sets start for Brooksby. So as long as Sasha Bublik doesn't win in straight sets or 3 sets to 1, we cash. So that we want him to get 2 sets, and we think it'll be a long one. You might want to play the total games as well. But this isn't going to be straightforward for the number 10, Sasha Bublik. Our next match is an early start. It's Saturday. It's 8:10 p.m. Saturday evening. So you have a little bit of time to get across to the BetRivers website or the app to get your wagers on here. And it involves the Frenchman Corentin Moutet, who's making his season debut in this match. And he's got a tricky opponent in the Australian Tristan Schoolgate, who is a player that we bet last time out. Against Hichigata, didn't we? Bet him. He got beaten that match.
Yeah.
Didn't put in much of a performance there. But he's up against Moutet, who had a good year last year, broke up to a sort of a career high just outside the top 32 in the world, but ended the season in bad form, didn't win any of his last 3 matches. So this might not be as straightforward again as we'd expect here. Schoolgate will have a huge amount of support. He'll like the conditions as well. He is the dog here with BetRivers at plus 215. Moutet is minus 278. Spread is 4.5. Total is 37.5. And there, again, are all the specials, and there is lots more on the BetRivers website. What do you think here, Sean?
This is coming a bit, hasn't it? Schoolgate was plus 165 when I looked at this earlier. Can we have a look at the live price on that? Is that right?
That is right. The price is moving.
Okay.
Big
Well,
move.
he's certainly been bet then in that case, and I'm not surprised. I'm giving Schoolgate a chance to redeem himself here. He was poor against Rinky Hijikata in that match that he played last week, but since then he's beaten Berrettini in the Kooyong exhibition, and as I said, as I said when I talked about the Jakarta match, he's a big match player. Is Tristan Schoolgate. He loves these conditions. I imagine, I haven't seen the schedule, but I imagine he'll get on a decent court, and he'll fancy this against Corentin Moutet. He took the opening set off Yannick Sinner when they played here last year. He was 50-1 to win that match, Schoolgate, against Yannick Sinner, and he won the opening set. Okay, he ended up losing the next 3, but it shows you that he's not afraid of the big stage. He's come out against Sinner and taken the opening set off him. And he's beaten top players, in big tournaments. Beat Fonseca at a Masters. He beat Sonego at the US Open. And he's also got a pretty decent record against lefties as well. He's got a 73% winning record against left-handers at all levels versus his 52% winning record against right-handers. It's quite a substantial difference there. So no obvious weakness at all as far as him playing against lefties is concerned. And Moutet, we haven't seen him for ages. Last time we saw him, he was posted on Instagram about mucking about in Kenya. I don't exactly know what he was doing out there. Certainly wasn't playing tennis. Clearly isn't fit either because he pulled out of Brisbane, pulled out of Adelaide. He was scheduled to play both those tournaments, didn't play either of them. So there's a doubt about his fitness for sure. And if we're just looking on stats, last 12 months on outdoor hard at main level, there's not much between them, which is why the plus 165 looked really big. Service points won and return points won total. Schoolgate 97, Moutet 99. Not much in it at all. Now, if you move on to matches played against the current top 50 on this surface, outdoor hard, it's actually Schoolgate with a better win rate, 38% win rate, Schoolgate, compared to Moutet's 36% win rate. And Moutet's only held serve 68.3% of the time in those matches. Schoolgate's held 78% of the time in his matches against the top 50 on this surface. So, a few factors here. Moutet, we're not sure about his condition. I feel like Schoolgate is one of the Australians, one of the home players that will play above his ranking. He's certainly shown that in the past that he's capable of doing that. I think the way to do this is, given that Moutet is quite clearly rusty, instead of the money line, I don't know what the set 1 price is. Set 1 was plus 165. That's where I've got that plus 165 from.
Plus 160.
Right, yeah, let's go with that. I think I've got confused there between the money line and the set 1. So that makes more sense then. Yeah, Schoolgate to win the opening set plus 160 then. I think given that Moutet is rusty, and Schoolgate has shown before he can rip it straight off the bat on a show court at this tournament. That's decent value, I think.
Yeah, a man who took the first set against the world number 1 Yannick Sinner. We expect him to start fast in front of his home crowd against a rusty Corentin Moutet. So our official play.
Yeah, I think it's decent value, that plus official 160,
yeah. Tristan Schoolgate to win the opening set at plus 160 with BetRivers Saturday, 8:10 Eastern time in the evening. Make sure you download the app to watch that match. Now, we have a couple of matches now, 3 matches we're going to discuss on Sunday. We don't know the order of play as of yet on Sunday, which could be an important factor, but we do have some bets for you on Sunday's matches. And our first match is the match between Lorenzo Musetti and Rafael Collignon, who's been in great form, the Belgian. Musetti got to the final against Bublik in Hong Kong, got beat by Bublik in the final. He's 3-1 this year. And Colin Long's had a decent run himself. He did well in qualification in Brisbane. He did well for us when he beat Shapovalov in the opening round of Brisbane in that tournament. We bet him on that match. And we also, he beats Dimitrov as well, a rusty Dimitrov. Bet him on that one as well. So he now could become, he's our most profitable player in 2026. Colin Long is the new Mooner. What do you think here? I mean, if you're looking at the betting here, there has been a little bit of money around. Well, not a lot, but a little bit of money around for Collignon here. Minus 435 for Musetti, plus 310 for the Belgian. 5.5 the spread, and total looks a bit cheap there. 35.5 with over minus 118 and under minus 109.
Yeah, I feel like this will be a tough, very tough test for Lorenzo Musetti. And again, I'm not sure he's fit. I'm really not. You know, he had medical timeouts in the singles and the doubles final in Hong Kong. He retired after one set of an exhibition against Zverev in Kooyong. You know, is he fit? And this will be a physical battle against Collignon, who's proven, as I've said before, he can go toe to toe with top players from the baseline. You know, he's a very durable player. He's got a very solid game. No real weaknesses. It's not easy to break him down. And he's shown his best form against the better players. Collignon's won 7 of his last 10 matches against top 50 ranked opponents, and he's won 3 of the 4 matches that he's played in his career against top 20 opponents. You know, the list of players that he's beaten in recent months is impressive. You know, Alex de Minaur, Casper Ruud, Dimitrov, as you said, Shapovalov, as you mentioned, Davidovich Fokina as well. He's beaten all those guys either at the US Open or since the US Open, so the last sort of 4 or 5 months or whatever. And if we look at his stats since the start of last season's US Open at main level, 64% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 101. Very impressive indeed for a guy that's ranked 72. It's a career high. He's only going up from there, Collignon. And I talked the other day about serve quality. You know, the ATP stats page is, you know, it gets better and better. And it does help you out with a lot of things. Serve quality over the last 12 months, Collignon's ranked 40th on the tour, ahead of the likes of Alcaraz. His serve quality over the last 12 months, main level, is 8.09. Puts him in 40th place. Musetti down in 71st place at 7.81. So the statistics show you that Collignon is a player to be reckoned with. He's not a world number 72 that comes in here with not much chance. I think he's got a very decent chance here. Beat Casper Ruud, of course, at the US Open, so he's not afraid to beat top players at hard court majors. So I think if Musetti's going to win this, he's going to have to do it the hard way. I'm not convinced he's fit either, which doesn't help. So I think Collignon plus 5.5 games here, which is around about plus 102, I believe, for BetRivers is the way to go. Given that his serve quality is right up there, Musetti will do well to cover that handicap, I think. Yeah,
plus 5.5 games, plus 102. We're going with Collignon. Could he be for another time for us? 3 times we've bet him so far this year. He could win every single time. He's on Hubert Hurkacz. It was our man in 2024. 2025, we had Jan Munar, and 2026 with Rafael Collignon. Talking of Hubert Hurkacz, he's our next bet. He's our next match, not our next bet. He's up against Zizou Bergs. And Hurkacz hasn't played, he's come back in the start of this year, but it's the United Cup's his first tennis since June. Hertogenbosch was the last time he played. He's done well at the United Cup, but the wins have been against Wawrinka at his age. Fritz, not fit. Griekspoor, we don't think he's fit as well. And Bergs has also done well at United Cup with good wins against Felix Auger-Aliassime, Mensik and Wawrinka as well. So both of these players on their form figures look in good nick here. Looking at the betting though, it's not a straightforward. Hurkacz is quite a heavy favourite. Minus 250 with BetRivers. Plus 195 for Zizou Bergs. Spread 4.5. Total here is 39.5. And there is your usual list of specials there as well. No previous head-to-head to go on. But Zizou Bergs is a player I quite like, and some of the wins, I mean, the win against Mensik was great. He was in great form. Win against Felix Auger-Aliassime was another good win. And Hurkacz, minus very rusty. That price is very short, isn't it? Minus 250.
I couldn't believe he was minus 250. You know, when I saw the draw, I've printed it out. That took about an hour as well, by the way. The Australian Open, for some reason, never give you a PDF.
I know. I've had that problem today. But what you have to do, you just write it down like that. Old school. Write it down. Much easier. Old school.
I know a guy that does on Twitter that does post them up, and you can convert the file from a image to a PDF.
That sounds far too complicated.
You shouldn't have to do it. It's always the Australian Open and the French as well. They don't give you just give me a PDF so I can print it out. Ridiculous. As soon as I saw this on the draw, when I'd printed it out, I thought roughly an even money match potentially. Minus 250.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Per cash. In best of three, maybe somewhere approaching, not quite that, but favourite. But best of five, given his fitness. I mean, he started the year in great form, as you said, Cash, but his fitness is.
He hasn't played anyone though, has he, Sean? Those three players he's won. They're all got. Fritz is injured, we know.
Fritz is injured.
Barinka's 41.
40,
yeah, and Griekspoor's injured as well.
I don't know whether Griekspoor's injured. He certainly isn't playing well, Griekspoor. That's for sure. But I'll come on to the stats in a second. Yeah, the main thing is the fitness for me. He had that really bad knee injury in the summer of 2024 at Wimbledon, which put him out it should have put him out for a long time. He came back far too soon. I remember him. He could barely walk when he came back. I don't know why he came back that quickly. Got injured again in the summer, again on grass in 2025. And he's only played 5 matches, as you said, since last June. The last time he played more than 3 sets in a match was when he got that injury at Wimbledon. I was there that day against Artur Fils in the summer of 2024. Hasn't played more than 3 sets since then. It's a very long time, and it's going to be hot. There's a question mark there for me, a huge question mark over the stamina and the fitness. And when he played Zverev in the United Cup a week ago, I'll have to change this quote slightly because there's a lot of expletives in it. But Zverev was heard to say to his dad, he said, the guy can barely walk. And then Zverev went on to moan about the fact that Hurkacz can serve at 230 Ks in a night match. There's a lot of expletives in there as well, but Zverev's basically saying he can only serve, he can't move. So I'm just not sure how Hurkacz will go over a possible 5 sets. And Bergs, as you said, is in arguably better form. He's just beaten 2 big servers in Felix, Auger-Aliassime, and Mensik, as you said. If we look at the stats of these few matches that they've played, Hurkacz, 4 wins, 1 defeat, service points won and return points won, a total of 105. 95% holds the serve. You would say fairly impressive. Bergs, almost exactly the same. 3-1, win-loss, total of 105, and 94% holds of serve. But going deeper into those numbers, it's always the same with Hurkacz. He's massively reliant on that first serve. He's won 83% of first serve points in those matches, but only 32% of return points. And only, interestingly as well, only 47% of second serve points. So he's leaning on that first serve hugely. And Bergs' numbers are much more balanced. Bergs actually won 64% of second serve points, which is hugely impressive. And he's also won 35.4% of return points as well against those big serving guys. So I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. Excuse me. Still got a bit of cough. So Bergs, he was plus 205 when I wrote this, plus 195. Now it looks like he's been nibbled at, but Bergs for me here.
Yeah, massive price, Bergs, plus 195. You might want to look at him on the handicap as well, 4.5. It just seems wrong. The Hurkacz price at minus 250. Our final match is also Sunday, and it's the match involving the young Brazilian João Fonseca. Everyone expected him to have a breakthrough year last year. It didn't really happen for him. He ended the season pretty well. Won a tournament, first tournament on the ATP Tour. He's up against Elliot Spizzeri, the American, who's in good form himself. Minus 190 for the Brazilian Fonseca, plus 150 for Spizzeri. 3.5 is the spread, and the total here is 38.5. They have met once before at the US Open in 2024 in qualifying, and Spizzeri won that in a very close match, 7-6, 6-7, 6-4. Spizzeri's form coming into this week is good. Quarterfinals at Auckland, some good wins along there. Sarundalo, Garin, Manarino, Borges, good wins. A bit unlucky actually against Marijan. He pushed him close. And for Fonseca, it hasn't really happened. He hasn't played anything yet this year apart from a sort of a Miami International sort of exhibition match against Alcaraz, which is nothing.
Yeah.
He did win the last tournament. He did win Basel at the end of last year, and then he got beaten in the second round of Paris. But it hasn't really happened for him. But he has been bet in the early flurries with BetRivers for this one. But he's a short price, isn't he?
Yeah, this one is another one about fitness, really. It's incredible how much I've talked about fitness in the 2 weeks that we've been doing this show. Start of the season, everyone's injured. as you say, Fonseca's not fit. I was quite interested to see what he said. I wasn't aware actually about Fonseca that he has this condition, but he said the other day, he said, I was born with a health condition and sometimes I feel more pain than others. It's in my back. 5 years ago, I suffered a stress fracture, but I'm aware that it's something that will always be present in my daily life, in my body, so I have to learn to live with it. I'm doing everything I can to recover. We had an MRI and we found that it's not serious, even though it could get worse. All we want is to be 100% fit before I come back to play. So it sounds like a similar issue to what Arthur Feast has got, actually, this kind of long-term back issue. It's unfortunate. I didn't know about that he had this. I knew he had a back injury. I wasn't aware that he had a health condition. So an obvious chance for Sposiri on the basis that Fonseca hasn't played. Is it one of them situations where he's thinking, it's a grand slam, I'll give it a go. If it was another 250, you might be thinking, let's kick the can down the road a little bit. But with it being a major, he's probably thinking, I'll give it a go. And he's playing an opponent here in Sposiri, who, as you said, played superb tennis in Auckland last week. He was unlucky to lose that match against Marijan. He won the totals. Service points won and return points won totals 103-97. Ended up losing the match, so a little bit unfortunate. I think it might just have to be a lean this one, because I am guessing a little bit on Fonseca's fitness. But if you're betting in this one, I think it's worth an interest on the plus 150. I think Fonseca's fitness is extremely questionable. We don't know how he's going to shape up at all.
Yep, plus 150. Sposiri is the lean from Sean there. Again, that match is on Sunday. Just before I let you go, Sean, you did say that there's a load of other. What other matches took your fancy? Was there any other ones that you liked that you thought that just almost made the shortlist? Because that will be your next question on the comment section. People will say, "Oh, he's taking 15." What other ones did you like the look of?
Diallo against Sasha Zverev. These are the ones that, not necessarily I'm saying the underdog's going to win, but I feel like they're going to be competitive. Yeah. Diallo against Zverev.
That looks a 5-setter all day long. That does long one.
Yeah, I mean, tough match for Zverev. He's been a shaky starter many times over the years. Borges, I think, will do something potentially against Felix. A kind of a rusty Felix, not played much at all. Manarino, if he fancies it, against Hijikata. I'm not a fan of Hijikata at all. I think if Manarino turns up with his best level, I know he hasn't played it this season, but I think he's got a chance as underdog. I had Marijan down against Rinda Kinesh. Maybe a question mark about that one now that Marijan's still got another match to play over in Auckland. I think he has, hasn't he? Yeah, he must have. Tabilo, I thought, was an interesting underdog against Halis. I've got Baez down against Mpechi. I wouldn't be surprised those odds have changed since I wrote this, given how well Baez has played in the last sort of couple of weeks. And Van der Zandschulp up against Nakashima. Those are the other ones that I could have mentioned, but I've narrowed it down to 5. But yeah, there's another 5 or 6, 7 there.
Yeah, a whole host of matches. Some really good matches, as Sean said, on the Australian Open round 1. You can get them all on the BetRivers app. A whole host of markets as well. There'll be about 60 different markets on those matches. The best tennis offering stateside, bar none, on the BetRivers app. So download it. You can live stream any match you want. Sean, before we go, just give us a little bit of a recap of the official plays, the ones that matter, the ones that go on the P&L.
Yeah, so starting from the top, Jensen Brooksby plus 1.5 sets. To beat Alexander Bublik plus 150. Tristan Schoolcake to win the opening set against Corentin Moutet plus 160. Rafael Collignon plus 5.5 games plus 102. We bet Rivers that is against Massetti. And Moneyline Zizou Bergs, I believe, was plus 190, I think you said.
Yeah.
Against Hurkacz.
So there is 4 official picks for round 1 of the Men's Open at the Australian Open. There is a pick show for round 1 on the women's draw as well with myself and Tim, which is available on the website as well, on the YouTube channel as well. That's it. So have a good day, and we'll be back later on in the tournament. Please hit the subscribe button, because you'll be notified of every time any bit of content drops. There'll be lots of tennis content over the next fortnight, covering all the angles over in Melbourne. Sean, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully we'll get back on Monday.
Thank you.
Cash in some tickets, and I'll speak to you next week. Take care. Goodbye.